Welcome to the NTEB Prophecy News Podcast with your host and Bible teacher, Jeffrey Greider. Rightly divided, dispensationally correct, and standing on the authority of the King James Holy Bible. This program is brought to you by NowTheEndBegins.com.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday and welcome to this impromptu session of a mini Prophecy News podcast. We normally broadcast on Mondays and Fridays, but there's so much going on right now that I just had to jump behind the microphone and give you guys a quick 15-minute update with everything that is erupting. If you like end times news, if you like articles and stories about the last days, I have one for you that is just going to blow your socks off. We did an article earlier today on something that Donald Trump just launched yesterday, and he's calling it the Genesis Mission. And when you really wrap your head around what this whole thing is actually about, it's going to blow your mind. I wrote this article a couple of hours ago. We were way ahead of the curve, but everybody's talking about it now, and it's blowing up on social media. Donald Trump signs executive order to launch artificial intelligence initiative called the Genesis Mission, creating a digital Tower of Babel. And I want to read this article to you today and kind of do like a mini end time study. And I'll make comments as we go along, because you really need to understand. I have so many words and thoughts competing for my attention right now. It's hard to keep a straight thought in my head because there's so much going on. There's so much happening. And yet, when the majority of Christians look out around the world, they think that nothing much is going on, but everything is going on. This is why Habakkuk says, "Behold ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your day, which you will not believe, though it be told you." And today's story, this little mini podcast that I want to bring to you, is really quite incredible. Donald Trump has signed an executive order that they are calling the Genesis Mission. Do you remember a couple of months ago, shortly after he became president for the second time, he launched something called Stargate? And we'll talk about that. But this goes hand in hand with exactly what the mandate for Stargate is all about. It's all about the singularity, transhumanism, algorithms, bots, artificial intelligence, and all these other things. They are coming to a head so crazy fast right now. So yesterday, President Donald J. Trump stood behind the Resolute Desk, I'm reading the article now, and signed the executive order launching what his administration calls the Genesis Mission. The world watched a seemingly routine ceremony with an announcement about science, technology, being competitive on the world stage, all those things. But if you were paying attention, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, as the Bible says, well, then you saw and heard something much more profound, maybe even prophetic, something that looks a lot less like an economic stimulus package and much more like a blueprint for a digital Tower of Babel in the closing moments before the catching away of the church. Genesis 11:4 says, "And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." When you pick up your cell phone, do you realize that your cell phone connects with towers? And we have phone towers and Wi-Fi towers and satellite stations and all these other things. This is exactly what the Bible talks about in places like Daniel chapter 12, where in the last days, people are going to run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And these are the days that I believe that we're living in right now. The Genesis mission is being heralded as the largest mobilization of American scientific resources since the moon landing. In reality, it appears to be the most comprehensive attempt yet to fuse artificial intelligence, federal datasets, national laboratory supercomputers, and automated robotic experimentation into a single unified system of knowledge and control. This will be a system capable of compressing scientific discovery, what once took years to compile, into mere hours. A system whose goal sounds eerily similar to the global technological regime prophesied to rise in the time of Jacob's trouble. When Donald Trump signed the executive order yesterday, it said in part, "This order launches the Genesis mission as a dedicated, coordinated national effort to unleash a new age of AI-accelerated innovation and discovery that can solve the most challenging problems of this century." That sounds pretty good, but it's not. The mission's stated purpose is to accelerate discovery across biology, nuclear fusion, quantum systems, climate modeling, material science, and much more. In other words, to take the raw building blocks of God's creation and place them under the predictive authority of artificially intelligent systems capable of designing, simulating, and executing scientific experiments without human oversight. Now, if that doesn't sound to you like man attempting to rewrite the rules of creation, then I don't know what does. So let me just stop there for a moment and take you to Isaiah chapter 14. This is where Lucifer succumbs to the sin of pride, the very first sin ever committed. And look at what he wants to do. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 13. "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." So if that's how Lucifer thought, and if that's how the devil thinks, remember he says in the Gospels, he says to Jesus that all the kingdoms of the world have been given unto me, and unto whosoever to whom that I give them to. He is the prince of the power of the air. He is in control of the world governments. He is the executor of the seven mountains mandates. And so, speaking of that, here's a thought that will, if it sounds crazy, but it's not crazy. Turn to Revelation chapter 17. Turn to Revelation chapter 17. Let me show you something. Revelation chapter 17 says, verse 5, "And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which has the 7 heads and 7 horns. The beast that thou sawest and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. And I said all that to say this. And here is the mind that has wisdom. All through the Old Testament, it says you got to have wisdom and you got to have knowledge, and you got to apply understanding to those things. You got to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Well, here's some wisdom. Revelation 17:9. And here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And then you go down to Revelation 17:17. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So how about this? The New Apostolic Reformation has what they call the 7 Mountains Mandate. And Doug Wilson has his own version. Kirk Cameron has his own version. Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump have their own version. But by and large, there is an enormous section of professing Christianity that wants to take control of the 7 mountains of, I don't know what they are, culture, media, society, finances, education, right? But what if the devil has his own 7 mountains? Now, he does in Revelation 17. But what if mountain number 1 are the Abraham Accords? What if mountain number 2 is the Genesis mission? Are there 5 more bombs that Trump is getting ready to drop? How many more biblically named programs is Donald Trump going to come up with? The Abraham Accords, the Genesis mission. Is anyone else seeing the same pattern that we're seeing? Anyway, the Genesis mission is not merely research or innovation or technology. It is recreation. Man attempting, like Lucifer, to simulate, automate, accelerate the mechanisms of life and nature. It is scientific ambition dressed up as innovation, but it is spiritually identical to the rebellion that first appeared in the Garden of Eden and climaxed at the Tower of Babel. The Genesis mission is a digital nervous system for federal power. For the first time in history, in 6,000 years, we have a government that is attempting to bring together all federal scientific data sets, all national laboratory supercomputers, all major AI models, all simulation environments, all robotic experimental platforms into one coordinated AI-driven infrastructure. It's going to be a living, breathing, virtual creature with nerves, organs, brain, hands, and eyes. What do I mean by that? The data pipelines will be the nerves. The labs and the supercomputers will be the organs. The federal AI models will be the brain, the robotic hands. Labs will be the hands. And sensors and data sets will be the eyes. Now, if you believe the Bible, this isn't a program. It's a creation of a national digital organism, a living, thinking, learning system whose purpose is to accelerate discovery, prediction, and control. If you've ever read the book of Revelation, like Revelation 13, then you know what's going on. Revelation 13:15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. The Bible tells us that before the day of the Lord, knowledge shall be increased, Daniel 12:4. Nations will clamor for power, Matthew 24:7. Deception and signs will multiply, 2 Thessalonians 2:9. And a global system of control will emerge, Revelation 13. Now, if you were going to build such a system, how would you generate the technological scaffolding that you would need? You would build something like the Genesis mission. Of course, to pull it off, you would need all the usual suspects like Palantir and BlackRock and DARPA and Bill Gates and Oracle and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and all the rest of the tech titans. But isn't that the whole point and purpose behind Stargate? Pieces are falling into place in the Trump administration, one executive order at a time. And as we often remind our readers at Now the End Begins, prophecy does not require the willing participation of world leaders. God uses kings and presidents, nations, armies, and yes, even technologies to move history toward its appointed end. For God has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. That's exactly what we see happening right now. So I just read to you the article that I wrote this morning on the Genesis mission. Now I want to play this to remind you what Donald Trump said. I guess this is really closer to 8 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. But remember when he made this crazy announcement about Stargate? Remember that? Check this out.
It's my honor to welcome three of the world's leading technology CEOs. And in the case of Larry Ellison, it's well beyond technology. He's sort of CEO of everything. He's an amazing man, an amazing business person. But to announce the largest AI infrastructure project by far in history, and it's all taking place right here in America. As you know, there's great competition for AI and other things. And
now, if you remember, we wrote about this story about Stargate. And Lori, just pull that article up. We're not in the chat room right now, but just pull up the article and tell me what the date of that story was. Thank you. And remember when Trump announced Stargate, and we kind of knew what was going on, but we really weren't sure what the whole thing was going to entail?
January 21.
Thank you. January 21st. So it was the day after he was sworn into office, on his first full official day. This is what Donald Trump said that they were working on.
they're coming in at the highest level. We're joined by Oracle Executive Chairman Larry Ellison, SoftBank CEO, my friend Masa Yoshi-san, and CEO of OpenAI, and I would say the by far the leading expert based on everything I read, Sam Altman. So that's great that you're coming in together. That's a massive group of talent and money.
So $500 billion for something called Stargate. And he said that on day one. And we weren't really sure how he was going to pull that off, what Stargate would look like. But as it turns out, Stargate kind of looks like this. Hold on here. Stargate kind of looks like that. And here's the official posting on X from the White House. The Genesis mission is wiring together. And I'm reading to you directly from the White House Post. The Genesis mission is wiring together the world's most powerful supercomputers, cutting-edge AI, and exclusive datasets across every major scientific field to double American research speed and impact in just 10 years. So, when he was president the first time, he dropped the Abraham Accords. Now he's president the second time, and he has dropped the Genesis mission. And this is nothing less than building the Matrix system. That, if you watch that movie from 1999 called The Matrix, and man puts their entire trust into the internet, into computers, man creates or thinks he creates artificial intelligence, and then gives complete control of the entire world to the artificial intelligence until the day that the AI turns against the human beings and the war begins. And that's the whole premise of the movie The Matrix. Well, that's really what Donald Trump is doing with this Genesis mission. Let me just give you this verse from the book of James, chapter 3. James, chapter 3, talking about knowledge and wisdom and understanding. James 3:13 says, "Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. For where envying is, there is confusion and every evil work." I believe when it talks about a wisdom that doesn't come from above, from God, but it comes up from the bottom, and the Bible says that it is earthly, sensual, and devilish, I believe that it could certainly be talking about artificial intelligence, because the places where that technology is, it's going to be a little bit of a help, and then it's going to be an unbelievable prison. 6 years ago, they locked us down. I believe that they're going to use this Genesis mission and all this AI technology for a different type of lockdown, a digital lockdown. Now, I only have a couple of minutes left. Like I said, this is not a regularly scheduled podcast or anything like that. But I want to remind you what Peter Thiel, in this interview, this amazing conversation that this interviewer had with Peter Thiel, the man who is the co-founder of Palantir, the man who is going to be building the software that the Genesis mission is going to operate on. Remind yourself of this clip.
We have the mechanisms that would make world government.
Nope, that's not it.
This is my very specific question for you, right? Is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance, in technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great?
Antichrist is absolutely going to be using these exact tools. Now, yes, he'll come with supernatural power, but he's going to take supernatural power to a system that is already run by a supernatural power that we call artificial intelligence. We're building the beast kingdom, not soon, not coming one day, someday, but we're building with artificial intelligence and supercomputing and all that stuff. We are building the beast kingdom right here and right now.
We're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
Now, I don't know who that interviewer is, and he sounds like he's a liberal, and that's fine. But this exchange that he has with Peter Thiel, you couldn't have had a better exchange if you scripted it in a Hollywood movie. He is asking Peter Thiel exactly what I would ask him. I might go into a little bit more biblical detail, but if I could sit down with Peter Thiel with the cameras rolling, I would have a conversation extremely similar to what this journalist is having with him. And the questions that he's asking him are so on point that Peter Thiel struggles to come up with an answer because he's stunned. Watch the look in Peter Thiel's face as he tries to answer. I'm going to back this up just about 20 seconds so you can hear the question again. And I'll let it run and watch how Peter Thiel, it looks like he takes a gut punch because this guy completely exposed him for who he is.
The irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist accidentally hastens his or her arrival.
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing. Oh, yes, you do, Petey boy. You absolutely do. You know, Peter Thiel, exactly what you're doing. Just like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Sam Altman and Donald Trump, and you guys know exactly what you're doing. You're building the beast kingdom, and it is obvious to see. It is everywhere that you look, and it is stunning. It is in front of our face. It is here. You would have to be, spiritually speaking, deaf, dumb, and blind to not see the prophetic implications of Donald Trump signing an executive order to create the matrix system, his own version of the Seven Mountains mandate. Let's see how many more mountains that Donald Trump is going to drop on us. But this thing is crazy, and this thing is absolutely out of control. And that means the closer we get to the beast, rapture comes before the beast. And we are looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearing of the great God and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Now, before I let you go, today is Tuesday, 3:21 p.m. Eastern Time, November 25th. I want to remind you, once a year we have a big sale. No, once a year we have a massive sale. And we call it our Blessed Friday and Cyber Monday sales weekend. And this sale is going to begin 12:01 a.m. Thanksgiving morning, 1 minute after midnight. So set your clock, and we have a large inventory, but it's not unlimited. So if there's a special calf skin, goat skin, lamb skin Bible that you've been thinking about for yourself, or dispensational truth, or any of the other hundreds of titles that we have, or Bible covers, we're putting the whole store on sale. But when it's gone, it's gone. And it's going to last for 5 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And the other thing that I want to tell you is we've spent the last month, and Lorianne has completely revamped our shipping system. And we have struggled a little bit over the last year or so trying to get all the orders out in a timely manner. And it doesn't help when the post office is, sometimes they take 8 days to deliver a package, but making no excuses, we have completely redesigned our ability to ship products out. So if you've ordered from us in the past, you will see that our shipping is on point. It is very quick now, and you'll be very, very happy with it. Go to BibleBeliever.com. We have all the items up there now. You can check it out. But the sale starts 12:01 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. Set your clock, set your watch, and come and get the best deals. You got to get there early. That's why we start this sale at midnight. And with that, we are out of time for today. And I kind of liked doing this little improvised, spontaneous podcast. And if things keep heating up, maybe we'll do this type of thing in the future. Go to nowtheendbegins.com and you can check out, you can read this article that I wrote on the Genesis mission. But look, Christian, I need you to understand something before I let you go. We are absolutely living in the last days that the Bible talks about. Prophecy is absolutely coming true before our eyes. If you blink, you're going to miss it. And if you've been thinking and praying about getting something done for the Lord, you better do it soon, because you're watching an unsaved world going into ramped up overdrive to get all this stuff accomplished in as quick a period as humanly possible. I believe we're going to be pulled out in the rapture before the Antichrist takes control. But hey, if you're a Bible believer and you've read that book through a couple of times, you know that you need to be ready for anything at any time. And with that, we are out of time. Thank you so much for being a part of the NTEB global family of Bible believers across America and around the world. Have a great day, everybody.